Tom Brady out here like this ain't even my final form. Can somebody explain to me why it's not sunny in Philadelphia? I do remember a certain somebody saying that Nick Foles was going to be starting by week 4. What is up, everybody? My name is Advance, and this is Advanced Sports Talk. So, week 3, here we go. Can't really call it NFL week 3. It's more like the preseason. Like if they merged the preseason with the regular season. But, in any case, starting off, as usual, my Buccaneers thoroughly dominated the Denver Broncos. Man, I love it. I love it. But yeah, so Buccaneers ended up winning 28-10. First off, Bucs team is getting better and better every week. So I can't even remember the last time I saw them block a punt. Oh man, first 3 and out of the game for the Broncos. Buccaneers went down, blocked a punt, set up a touchdown pass to Chris Godwin. So far, everything is all good, man. Second quarter, touchdown by Mike Evans halfway through. Then shortly before the half, another touchdown by Mike Evans. Then Denver managed to throw a garbage time touchdown before the end of the half to Tim Patrick. So right now it's 23-10. Bucs pretty much played ball control throughout the rest of the game. Then once again it was interesting because we hadn't heard this man's name all season to date. My man, Zach Barrett, came through, always showing that safety is key. Sacked Jeff Driscoll in the end zone when we backed him up to the goal line. That was just the jump off we needed. He runs through almost like he knew, like, wait a minute, I haven't gotten any sacks. Wham! Lit him up, tackled him in the backfield. So the Broncos didn't really get to do much throughout the rest of the game. I think they got a random field goal. They got a random field goal. They haven't that touchdown that they scored in the first half, that was their only touchdown. But man, Buccaneers, we almost there. Almost there. But they seems like they're finally getting that offense to click. No more miscommunications. Matter of fact, Brady didn't throw any interceptions. He threw 3 touchdowns. So that's a step in the right direction. We got one more week of the first quarter / preseason of the NFL season. We're going to see where it goes from there. So staying in the NFC South, damn, Atlanta just can't catch a break. It was the Chicago Bears versus the Atlanta Falcons. Bears ended up winning 30-26. But how did we get there? Let's walk through this together. So, as always, with most of these Falcons losses, it starts with the Falcons thoroughly dominating the game for 3.5 quarters. Matt Ryan is doing his usual Matt Ryan thing. Touchdown, racking up all these passing yards, throwing all these touchdowns. Yeah, Julio ain't getting no catches this game. That was weird. In fact, there was some new guy named Olamide Zaccheaus. I might have to keep an eye on this guy. But in any case, man, so typical. Matt Ryan is racking up all these touchdowns. Once they got to 26, then the Bears kept steadily coming back, racking up scores. Then Atlanta started to panic. It was like, oh snap, we've been in this situation before. They tried to drive down the field, but they ended up failing. And then the fourth quarter hits. And man, let me tell you this. The Falcons was getting to Trubisky. Like they kept sacking him, and like he was scoring, but like from what I saw, it was like he was completely uncomfortable in the pocket. So they was not letting him get off. But then a godsend happened. Oh man, so they benched Mitch Trubisky, which I remember a certain somebody saying that Trubisky better watch out because the Bears signed Super Bowl winning quarterback Nick Foles. Yeah, it was only a matter of time before he reared his ugly head. I said week 4. He came in halfway through week 3. So I think that prediction was spot on. They ended up signing Nick Foles. They ain't signed him for nothing. So basically, translation, Trubisky, this your last year. You better make it count. And Nick Foles lit them up. He came out there like, y'all about to get this work. Boom, throwing bombs. And, oh man, Tariq Cohen, David Montgomery, Anthony Miller. Oh man, Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson. You utilized all the weapons. He spread it out. He was like, look, I'm always going to have a starting job. When it was all said and done, fourth quarter, Falcons did not get it done. Bears came back and won 30-26. Matty Ice has thawed. Moving on, Bills versus the Rams. This was a sneaky shootout. No, there's no lying about that. This was a shootout. Josh Allen versus Jared Goff. I don't gotta tell you, Stephon Diggs. They was going back and forth. That was a war. Like the Bills and the Rams. I guess they both got horns. But yeah, the Bills and the Rams, they went at it. And it was like, I don't think the defense was really involved too much in this game, but yeah, like they was, both quarterbacks, they threw an interception apiece. But, oh man, Josh Allen, 4 touchdowns. The Rams running back, he was a rookie last year, but Darryl Johnson finally got him going after they barely used him last year, but they finally got him going. He is stepping up into that Todd Gurley role. I'm looking forward to seeing his development moving forward. Hopefully, I can pick him up on my fantasy team if someone's stupid enough to let him go, that is. In any case, yeah. Bills beat the Rams 35-32. Moving on, the team formerly known as the Washington Redskins versus the Cleveland Browns. Shaking Baker Mayfield, and ended up pulling it out. So, Browns won 34-20. Baker Mayfield didn't have a lot of passing yards, but he threw 2 touchdowns. Looks like most of the damage was pretty much done on the ground. Yeah, you had Nick Chubb, who ran for over 100 yards and scored 2 touchdowns of his own on the ground. Then you had Kareem Hunt following close behind. He had 46 yards, but even still, like, the best weapon that any team can have is a double-headed dragon. Those two together is great. It doesn't matter who starts or whatever. You know that whoever's coming in or whoever's coming in, they're gonna get those yards. You know, Kareem Hunt, Kansas City kicked him and sold him down the street. Guess what? He's doing fine now. Like Cleveland, they got a squad. They got a squad over there. They got Baker Mayfield, who has shown that when he applies himself, he is a very competent quarterback. You got OBJ, who has shown that when he's not bitching and whining, he is a very competent receiver. I already talked about the double-headed dragon. Jarvis Landry, Washington's front 7 being the way that it is, they, I guess the protection of the Browns really held up. Now that I think about it, that is the best way to neutralize a front 7. You gotta run through them. And it helps when you have a double-headed dragon that can do that. Cleveland. Man, I'm reserving judgment because this is Washington. But yeah, they managed to pick off Haskins 3 times. But you know, Haskins ended up throwing for over 200 yards and got 2 touchdowns. So I think if the prediction that was set forth by my Madden franchise is correct, I think the Browns might be going to the playoffs and then the Super Bowl. Look, because in my Madden franchise, the Browns won the Super Bowl twice. Like man. So yeah, so on paper, I know they can do it. But they gotta get through us, the Bucks first. But in any case, moving on, the Titans versus the Vikings. This game was another shootout. Man, there was a lot of shootouts Sunday, man. Ryan Tannehill throwing for over 300 yards. Didn't throw any touchdowns, threw 1 interception. But Yeah, but yeah, this battle was fought mostly on the ground. Once again, Derrick Henry running in 2 touchdowns, running for over 100 yards. Dalvin Cook running for 180 yards, 1 touchdown, but he fumbled once. So they had a lot going on through the air too. The Titans' leading receiver was Khalif Raymond for 3 targets for over 118 yards. So that tells me that they weren't really throwing a lot, but when they were throwing, they was either getting a lot of yards after catch or just getting a lot of yards per catch. Very Deshaun Jackson-like numbers. Kirk Cousins' leading receiver was Justin Jefferson. He's a rookie, and this must have been his breakout because I haven't really heard his name too much. He caught 7 on 9 targets for 175 yards. For a rookie, that's pretty damn impressive. Minnesota was in control of this game, despite the stats. So they was in control of this game, but much like the Falcons, they choked it away. And in the fourth quarter, they went for a 2-point conversion to make it a 7-point game. So at this point, they scored a touchdown, made the score 30. I think it was 30-25, I believe. 30-25. So they scored. They had a chance they decided to go for 2 to make it a 7-point game. So they went for it, didn't get it. Then they had to punt the ball back to the thrill. Ryan Tanner thrill. So they drove down the field. Kicked the field goal. So now they had to kick it back off to the Vikings. Vikings ended up giving it back to the Titans. Titans defense was real strong in this game. So they ended up having to punt it back to the Titans, who drove down the field and kicked another field goal. So, in case you weren't keeping track, after they kicked the first field goal of this fourth quarter, it was now 28-30. So they kicked the field goal to make it 31-30, winning by 1 point. But you know what they say? It doesn't matter whether it's by an inch or by a mile. Winning is winning. So the thrill ended up pulling it out, and yeah, so Titans got the win, 31-30. All right, moving on to Las Vegas Raiders. I gotta get in the habit of saying that. Las Vegas Raiders versus the New England Patriots. Finally, we have a game where Cam Newton does not lead the team in rushing. That honor belongs to Sony Michel. He ran for over 100 yards. Welcome back, Sony. We missed you. Yeah, Rex Burkhead went off too. Man, he went back into the old role that they had for him back in 2017. He was the red zone target, but I don't think he was meant to be, because he was making these long ass runs and then just happened to end up scoring a touchdown. So yeah, but I love the new Patriots. Even though I think they kind of got this silent pissing match between the Patriots and the Buccaneers, trying to see, all right, who's going to do it first? Is Belichick going to get to the Super Bowl with Cam, or is Brady going to get to the Super Bowl with the Bucs? That would be really crazy if both of them made it and then they had to duke it out. That would be a big draw. But in any case, moving on. Like, I love the new energy that Cam Newton brings to the Patriots. You know, because with them having a mobile quarterback, then he's able to exploit the offense. He can do a lot of things that the Patriots originally couldn't do, because Brady is a pocket passer. He'll run if he needs to, but not often. With Cam Newton, you have to game plan for that. You have to expect him to take off at a moment's notice, and that's difficult considering that they have weapons on the outside. Like I mentioned before, they got Sony Michel, they got Julian Edelman, and then just them two alone is enough to worry about. N'Keal Harry and Damiere Byrd they're not nothing to sneeze at either. So, even though I know that there's a race to the Super Bowl with my Buccaneers, I really find myself really glancing over at this game, and it was, it's very intriguing. The Patriots ended up winning 36-20, but that's not to say that the Raiders fell back into their old ways of slouching. No, this was their first loss, actually. So with this game being their first loss, they have a lot of room for growth. Now they have that experience of facing a mobile quarterback. So, they're gonna take that knowledge and then they're gonna digest it. Yeah, Josh Jacobs didn't really go off this week as much as he's done in previous weeks. In fact, he's actually fumbled. So I guess it's good to have that humbling experience. It's good to have it early on in the season, so that way there's a period of learning and growth that can happen. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what the Raiders are going to do moving forward. This game actually surprised me because the 49ers, as many injuries as the 49ers had, they might as well open a clinic. 49ers versus the Giants. They ended up blowing them out of the water 36-9. The Giants' leading scorer is literally their kicker. Jimmy G is out, so Nick Mullins took over the starting duties. Didn't do a bad job. Threw for over 300 yards and got one touchdown. Most of their touchdowns came on the ground. They was just spreading the love. Jerick McKinnon, Brandon Ayuk, Jeffrey Wilson. Let me tell y'all something. I've been waiting 3 weeks for Brandon Ayuk to go off. Cause I know he missed week 1 due to some kind of injury or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. But week 2, he kind of came in. He kind of did a little something, but not much. Week 3 went off. Oh man, this kid is gonna be something special to watch throughout the season. Remember, Brandon Ayuk. 49ers ended up winning 36-9. Bengals versus the Eagles. This game, man, I don't know if I was suspenseful watching this game or if it was just really just not a good game, but this was probably Wentz's best game that he's played. Joe Burrow came out, did his thing, played his usual thing, threw for over 300 yards, got 2 touchdowns. Wentz threw for 200 yards, got 1 touchdown, but threw 2 interceptions. He got sacked 3 times. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm assuming that's just one of those things you got to throw out for the first quarter of the season because there was no preseason, no training camp. And I hate to keep falling back on that, but we have to understand that we are in a very unique time right now. Carson Wentz ran in for a touchdown. He dove for a touchdown that actually kind of made time stop for me because I remember that's how he got hurt before. But luckily nobody collapsed on him this time. So, him diving in actually showed that he had heart. It seems like Wentz is relearning himself. Or maybe he's just relearning the fucking offensive line. Because because with him getting sacked, man, that's very worrisome. But he in this game, I can say, despite the outcome, he was moving around pretty good. Eagles fans are already calling for Jalen Hurts, but that's Philly. The game is tied 23-3 going into the fourth quarter, and I'm sitting here listen, don't do this again. Not like this. So the time hits 0, and it seems like that neither of these teams could do it. Right when Philadelphia got in field goal range, they got hit They got hit with back-to-back penalties, which backed them up out of field goal range. So they was forced to punt. That's such a heartbreaker. But yeah, like, so we go to overtime. Both teams touch the ball. Time runs out, and deja vu is set in. I had to check to make sure that the exits weren't sealed, because I know when you're stuck in the Matrix and you experience deja vu is what happens when they change something. But man, this is crazy. It's like both of them refused to go 0-3. Very sound strategy. Very sound strategy. I think this was the last easy game that the Eagles had. Hopefully they, rise or play to the level, play to the strength of their competition, or play up to the level of their competition, because rough times are coming. And speaking of rough times are coming, Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Randall Cobb has reemerged in the absence of Brandon Cooks. So Deshaun Watson I give Deshaun Watson credit. He has been trying his ass off. Deshaun Watson's been trying his ass off. Oh man, he threw for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he threw 1 interception. Big Ben came out and threw over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. James Conner, as usual, ran all over the field. He rushed for 100 yards. David Johnson still didn't do much this game, but it looks like the Texans' primary attack was through the air, as stated with Randall Cobb. But in any case, it just seems like this is not the Texans' year. And it's sad because Deshaun Watson, like, I can only imagine what Deshaun Watson what Watson's face was like when they traded his most valuable receiver. And he has a decent setup, but I don't know, it just seems like without DeAndre Hopkins, the whole mojo of the team is just thrown off. But yeah, surprisingly, man, Steelers are undefeated. So, in any case, Steelers ended up winning 28-21. Yeah, there wasn't. Steelers didn't do a lot in the air. They threw 2 touchdowns, one to Eric Ebron and the other one to Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju's gonna have a year this year. This is the year that he should have had last year. But in any case, moving on. Moving on to the Jets versus the Colts. And if you ask me, I think this was actually just the tune-up game that that Phillip Rivers needed. So the Colts steamrolled the Jets 36-7. Phillip Rivers threw for 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Sam Darnold threw for 160 yards and 1 touchdown, but threw 3 interceptions. Man, Colts defense was on fire. Rock Ya-Sin. But yeah, the Colts, they thoroughly dominated that game at every level. Well, nothing much to speak about there. Player to keep an eye on, Mo Alley Cox. That's crazy because I never heard of this guy before this year. Or maybe I did hear about him and just, there wasn't really much buzz about it. But in any case, he's gonna be on my radar. So we're gonna move on to the team that Phillip Rivers just left. the LA Chargers at home in SoFi Stadium. So they hosted the visiting Panthers, who ended up winning 21-16. So let's break this down. First off, Keenan Allen came back, catching 13 out of 19 receptions for 132 yards and a touchdown. Welcome back. the majority of the looks like the majority of the offense was mainly split between him and Austin Eckler. And of course, there's a pass here and there to Hunter Henry. So for their running back, Mike Davis is doing an exceptional job in the absence of Christian McCaffrey. So Carolina definitely have a competent backup that can hold things down until McCaffrey returns. And Teddy Bridgewater threw for over 200 yards and a touchdown. Justin Herbert once again had another 300-yard day. He threw 300 yards passing. However, he still threw an interception. But they can, he's a rookie, so he's still learning. But he's got a test coming up this week against the Buccaneers. But we'll see if he gets those interceptions under control. I think second half of the season he's gonna be able to do some damage. Pending Tyrod Taylor's injury, he's still out with a punctured lung. Lawyer up, man. Lawyer up. They ended up signing Nick Foles. They ain't signed him for nothing. So basically, translation, Trubisky, this is your last year. You better make it count. Alright, so NFC North matchup. So, Detroit Lions versus the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, identical quarterback play between Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford. They both threw for 270 yards. They both threw 2 touchdown passes. However, Kyler Murray turned the ball over 3 times, threw 3 interceptions. That was very, very lucky pickings for the Lions defense. Adrian Peterson is still running strong. I'm gonna do these updates every week because every week that Adrian Peterson stays healthy is a big deal. So Adrian Peterson ran for 75 yards. Kenyon Drake ran for 73 yards. Adrian Peterson ran for 75 yards. Kenyon Drake ran for 73 yards. So it's I'm seeing some similarities with these teams. Kenny Golladay, leading receiver for the Lions, Kenny Golladay, 57 yards passing, or receiving rather. Andy Isabella, 47 yards. So the receiver that stuck out in this game, as always, DeAndre Hopkins, 107. I'm sorry, I was about to get ahead of myself. 137 yards passing, or 137 yards receiving. Yeah, man, he's definitely settled in, and him and Kyler Murray got that cohesion. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The Cardinals lost, or the Lions beat the Cardinals 26-23. Oh, so Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks. So this game was, I don't know if this game was exciting to watch or if it was just bad coaching or if I was just thoroughly entertained. I think I was mostly entertained, but it was more so just like oh wow, they going back and forth over there, like it was a very intense battle. Dak threw for 470 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he got picked off twice. Russell Wilson threw for 315 yards and 5 touchdowns. Oh man, this was crazy. So this was what happened in the game, leading up to the end of the first half. I'm laughing because this made no sense to me, but it made 0 sense whatsoever. But it happened, so I have no choice but to be baffled by it. So going down the line, I forgot which receiver it was, but the Seattle receiver stepped out of bounds. and then came back in. Well, it was the defender used the sideline as an extra defender, which is common. So he rolled him out of bounds. He stepped on the line. Guy came back in, caught the ball. So they threw the flagged him for illegal touching. Right? So that means if he goes outside of bounds and comes back in, he can't be the first one to touch the ball. So that means either one of his teammates or the defender has to make a play on the ball first before he can legally catch it and run it into the end zone. So this was almost a touchdown, but they tackled him inside the 5. So so they threw the flag on him for whatever reason. Whatever reason, I can't even understand. Dallas declined the penalty. So you have this big game that would have been negated if you had just accepted the penalty, but Dallas declined it. So therefore, Seattle got set up on the 5-yard line, and then they just ran it into the end zone for a touchdown. Oh man, Dallas, y'all deserve that one. That was dumb. That was dumb beyond belief. Even the announcers was confused. They said, wow, this is very confusing. This is a very confusing situation. But, oh man, any case. Yeah, so Dallas, I don't even know if it would be considered, I don't know. I know they was going back and forth, but I think Dallas, I'm not even going to say who choked or whatever. I'm going to be fair because, it's automatically, it's easy to just say, all right, well, somebody choked the lead or whatever the case. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really watching too much of the game. I don't know who was on top in the fourth quarter or much. I just glanced back and forth. But what I do know is that the Seahawks beat the Cowboys 38-31. But, I mean, hey, Dak gonna have a new contract somewhere. throwing for over 450 yards. Also, I don't know, but I think this might be somebody's last year. Either Michael Gallup or Amari Cooper in Dallas. So I don't know. But we'll see. I know if Dak don't stay, then yeah, I don't see how they could possibly, who they could bring in that could like gel with that offense. But what do I know? This is only episode 3. Man, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are still proven to be they're proven to be a formidable receiver duo, and especially with Russell Wilson in the backfield, who has the option of both throwing and running, just like how I mentioned earlier with Cam Newton. That same energy that he brought to the Patriots, the Seahawks been had that, but what they didn't have until last year was DK Metcalf. So, they both got 100 yards apiece. Got 100 yards apiece receiving. So, man, it's not really hard to understand why the Seahawks are at 3-0. So, you want to talk about a duel? All right, let's talk about a duel. The Green Bay Packers versus the New Orleans Saints. Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees. Once again, identical quarterback play. Almost down to the yard. Aaron Rodgers, they both threw for about 280 yards, a little bit over 280 yards. They both threw 3 touchdown passes. No interceptions. Not really a lot of rushing yards in this game. Both Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara. Well, Aaron Jones had 69 yards rushing. Alvin Kamara had 58. However, Alvin Kamara was their leading receiver. So that comment that I made last week about Alvin Kamara being their offense until Michael Thomas comes back, it looks like that's the case. But, or either that or just Green Bay just has a shitty defense. But yeah, so with Alvin Kamara having the day that he had, it's only a matter of time before teams start to key in on him. And for now, he's hard to stop because if he's coming out of the backfield, okay, yeah, that's if he's rushing, that's easy enough to see. Like, all right, well, yeah, just jam the hole and stop him. But if he's coming and catching the ball out of the backfield, that's hard to stop because you don't know if Breeze is throwing it to him or if he's throwing it to Cook. Cook is also another elite option in their offense. So yeah, it's like it doesn't surprise me that Alvin Kamara ran all over him. He's that type of player. Although I think he might have spent too much time in New Orleans because with those fronts that he had on in the game, starting to look a little bit like Lil Wayne. Either that or Lil Wayne actually got in shape and they called him in as a ringer. That's highly unlikely. But in any case, after that slugfest, the Green Bay Packers ended up pulling out the win 37-30. That was a very impressive shootout, a very exciting game to watch. And last but most certainly not least, grudge match. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens, my hometown. It's the Chiefs played, as always, they played an exceptionally sound game on all levels, offense, defense, and special teams. I don't know what it is that makes them the Ravens' kryptonite, because we know that the Ravens have that ability to just bully teams, for lack of a better word, but I don't know. It's like, and this is the third time in a row during the regular season that that they've played, and they just can't beat the Chiefs, and then it's like the hype surrounding this game. You have 1 year MVP versus the next year MVP, and then you have the regular season MVP versus the Super Bowl MVP. So it's like this was set up to be a really good game. Ravens, they didn't play their best ball. So Mahomes did his thing, spreading the ball around. Travis Kelce got the most, was the leading receiver, obviously. Then it's like Mecole Hardman, Tariq Cohen, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back. They all got their yards. He spread the ball out. On the Ravens side, I don't know what happened, but yeah, and it's like it just seemed like the Ravens weren't the Ravens. They weren't that dominant team that we know that they can be. So they have, so it's like the number of passes that Mark Andrews dropped, so a couple of them was touchdown passes, and I don't know, it just seemed like they just weren't themselves. But you know what? Everybody's entitled to a bad game. I just wish it wasn't this game. But yeah, everyone's entitled to a bad game, so gotta give it to them. Glad it happened early in the season as opposed to later. So now they have their chance to come back, fix whatever they need to fix, and maybe if they see them in the playoffs, that they'll have some kind of a game plan better than what they did on Monday night. So that'll do it for this episode of Advanced Sports Talk. Breakdown NFL Week 3 complete, in the books. We got one more week of preseason / first quarter of regular season to go. So hey, this is where we're gonna start seeing where these teams develop to, especially the new players. You know, the new players that switch teams, and some we don't need to see because they already firing on all cylinders. But you know, for the new teams, the new coaches, you know, this is where we're gonna see how they really gel and how they cohesion, how the cohesion that they have with their team. But in any case, got Tampa Bay Lightning video coming soon. Congrats on winning the Stanley Cup. That's a big deal for those of y'all that don't know. Yeah. In any case, my name is Advance, and I will always continue to be. I'm out.